It had been raining for 3 days straight in Seattle. Not the violent kind of rain, but that steady, whispering drizzle that clings to your clothes and makes everything feel heavy. The kind of rain that seeps into your bones and stays there. Daniel stood by the kitchen window, a mug of coffee growing cold in his hands. Outside, the hydrangeas his wife loved so much were bent under the weight of water. Their petals sagged, pale blue against the gray morning. He watched her car pull out of the driveway, a white SUV disappearing into the fog. She was wearing that cream-colored coat again, the one he bought her last Christmas. She looked beautiful, even from a distance. But something in the way she avoided looking back, something in the way she didn't wave this morning, it made his chest tighten. She used to wave. Every morning. Her name was Claire. 34. Beautiful, intelligent, the kind of woman who carried grace without realizing it. She worked as a marketing director for a boutique hotel downtown. Daniel was an engineer, mostly working from home since the pandemic. They'd been married for 8 years. No kids. They used to talk about it, but life had slipped into routines, and somewhere along the way, the excitement between them had faded like old paint. The first time Daniel noticed something strange was 2 months ago. She'd started taking evening yoga classes. Twice a week, sometimes 3. He didn't question it at first, she'd always been active. But one night, he found a half-empty wine bottle in her car. And the scent of men's cologne, not his, lingering faintly on the passenger seat. He hadn't said a word. Just sat in the driveway that night, staring at the empty seat beside him, feeling the slow burn of suspicion start to grow. By the next week, the feeling had turned into an ache. Claire's habits were shifting, subtle things only a husband would notice. She started wearing perfume again, the expensive one she hadn't touched in a year. She'd get home late, cheeks flushed, her laughter too bright, her phone always turned face down on the counter. When Daniel asked, she smiled that careful, polite smile, the one that hides everything. "Long meeting," she said once. "You know how it is with clients." "Yeah," he'd answered quietly. "I know." At night, she'd fall asleep quickly. Too quickly. And when he reached for her, she'd turn away. Sometimes, Daniel would just lie there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rain hit the windows. Wondering if she was dreaming about him, or someone else. It was their neighbor, Lucy, who first said something that made his heart drop. Lucy was in her 40s, divorced, a bit of a gossip but harmless. She and Claire used to chat over coffee. One afternoon, Daniel was taking out the trash when Lucy waved him over. "Hey, Dan," she said, voice low. "Claire looks great lately. You guys going somewhere special?" "Not really." "Why?" "Oh, just curious. I thought maybe you two were traveling. I saw her the other night at that new wine bar on 5th. I didn't realize you were out, too." Daniel blinked. "Wine bar?" Lucy nodded. "Yeah, she was with someone. I only saw them from across the street, but," she hesitated. "It didn't look like business." She gave a small, awkward smile. "Probably nothing, right?" He forced one back. "Yeah. Probably nothing." But his hands were shaking. 2 days later, Daniel followed her. He told himself it wasn't stalking, it was clarity. He needed to know. The not knowing was killing him. He waited until she left for her yoga class, then got in his truck and kept a few cars behind. Rain slicked the streets, the traffic lights reflected like streaks of blood on the wet asphalt. She didn't go to the yoga studio. She drove downtown, parked outside a boutique hotel, the Alabaster. The same one she worked for. He watched as she stepped out, holding her phone, glancing around nervously. Then a man appeared, tall, in a navy coat, confident in a way that made Daniel's stomach twist. They exchanged a look, brief, electric, and disappeared through the side entrance. Daniel sat there for a long time, the wipers smearing rain across the windshield. He could still see the way her face lit up when she saw the man. The softness in her eyes, the one she used to save for him. He didn't go inside. He didn't want to see more. Not yet. That night, Claire came home late again. Daniel was sitting at the table, pretending to work on his laptop. When she walked in, he looked up and smiled as if nothing was wrong. "Hey," she said, hanging up her coat. "Sorry, traffic was insane." "You smell nice," he said quietly. She froze for a second, then laughed. "Thanks. Just a new perfume." "Yeah. I noticed." He watched her cross the room, pour herself a glass of water, avoiding his eyes. The silence between them felt like an ocean, deep, cold, endless. "How was yoga?" he asked. "Good," she said. "Tiring?" He nodded, staring at his screen, the cursor blinking on an empty page. "I saw Lucy today," he added casually. Her glass paused halfway to her lips. "Oh. Yeah. She said she saw you downtown the other night." Claire blinked. "What? When?" "Didn't say exactly. Just mentioned a wine bar." A beat of silence. Then she smiled too quickly. She must have been mistaken. "You know Lucy?" "Yeah," he said softly. "I do." And that was it. No accusation. No shouting. Just two people sitting in the same room, drowning in the quiet truth neither wanted to say. The next morning, Daniel's friend, Ethan, a former cop turned private investigator, sent him a message. "Check your email. You were right." Inside was a short, grainy video from the hotel's security footage. Claire. And the man. Laughing. Kissing. Entering a hotel room. Time stamped 2 nights ago. Daniel felt something in him go still, like a fuse burning out. He didn't confront her right away. Instead, he watched her that evening as she cooked dinner, humming softly, as if their marriage wasn't already burning behind her. He realized then, she wasn't the same woman he'd married. And he wasn't the same man. It happened on a Thursday. The rain had stopped for the first time in a week. The air smelled like wet cedar and gasoline. Claire was in the living room, scrolling through her phone, when Daniel walked in. He placed a printed photo on the coffee table, the image from the hotel footage. She froze. Her face went pale. "Where did you get that?" she whispered. "Does it matter?" Her lips parted, trembling. "Daniel, How long?" he asked. "It's not what it looks like." Don't lie to me, Claire." Silence. The kind that cuts. Finally, she sat down, hands shaking. 6 months, she said quietly. "It started after your layoff last year. You were different. Cold. Distant. I didn't plan it, I swear." Daniel's jaw clenched. "His name? Mark. He was my client." He laughed once, a hollow, broken sound. "Figures." She started crying. "I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I didn't know how to stop it." He looked at her, the woman he'd shared a life with, trusted, loved, and realized he didn't recognize her anymore. "You already did," he said quietly. "You hurt me every day you came home and lied." She moved out 2 weeks later. Left most of her things behind, books, mugs, a sweater still hanging on the chair. The house felt emptier than ever. Daniel spent his nights walking by the lake, watching the reflections of streetlights shimmer on the water. The rain returned, soft and endless. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just existed. One evening, he saw her again, by accident. She was at a cafe downtown, sitting with the same man. But her smile looked smaller now. Her eyes tired. Maybe guilt, maybe consequence. She saw him too. Their eyes met through the glass. Neither of them moved. Neither waved. Just two ghosts staring at what they'd lost. A month later, Daniel mailed her a box. Inside was her wedding ring, a photo from their honeymoon, and a short note. "I hope you find what you were looking for. Because I finally did. Peace." He signed it without his name. Then he drove to the coast, to a quiet cabin near La Push, and watched the ocean for hours. The horizon stretched endlessly, gray and alive, just like the rain. He felt something inside him loosen, finally. The storm had passed. Not the one outside, but the one within.